Bob, you came back from Penn State with a Big Ten regular season championship and a couple exciting games. What'd you feel about the weekend?
I thought we were very good from the whole weekend. The whole week leading into it, we just had a good look about us. We just went back to work and just guys are ready to play, and that's an awful tough place to go into. And obviously we got some breaks the first night, and we didn't get into the second night until the last minute. But that's the way, when you feel good about your game and you're bending your knees and you got your blood pressure going and your heart pumping, good things happen. And that's what happened to us.
Piggybacking off of that, how weird was it to go into Friday night having already clinched the regular season championship? And what did it take for your guys to be locked in like they were?
Well, it was like, we still had 4 games to go in league play, and that's all we talk about. And so I think it's more of a media question, that you already had it wrapped up. Like, I don't think we think that way as a group. And we sure guarded against it, but it just was what it was. And we're coming off where we didn't feel we played very good the week before, and we're playing we're playing as a team. We're playing for our, the NCAA, and we call it banner season, and that's the ultimate is the NCAA. And then you got a few trophies along the way. If you got a shot at them, you go for them. And that one fell in our lap, and now we move on. So, that's kind of how it's a kind of a long-winded answer to, that you're like, I know we wrapped it up, but I don't think we really talked about it. It was more important. We had 2 games to play. Guys want to play hockey games and want to keep playing hockey.
You're obviously in the midst of a season and you're dealing with the day-to-day stuff of, preparing for an opponent and all that. But, especially after a weekend like last weekend, do you ever take a second and just sit back and look at that top line and think of, where they are kind of historically in terms of Gopher hockey? I mean, that's those 3 seem to be pretty special.
Yeah. I think, I don't think we sit back and think like that. We may do that in the off season.
Yeah.
From as your word was historical, but I mean, they're an awful talented group, and when they get on, they're on. But I think one of the great things about this team is we're a lot more than that line, and so, and they know that too. But they're sure a lot of fun when you want to talk about that, those 3 when they're on, and they kind of take turns too. And they've all taken turns in the spotlight, and that's what's been kind of fun about them.
Looking at that line too, when did you know that you were going to put them together? Was that a process at all?
No, I mean, I remember somebody asked me that before the season. I said, well, I'd be a fool not to try it. And we didn't try it right away. I do remember when we didn't have Snuggie and Cooley together early because they played together all last year. So we wanted to just kind of freshen it up. But the minute those 2 got together, they had great chemistry. And you just knew that, okay, because I like to work in 2s. If you've heard me before, and put combos together and then add a third, well, it only made sense to try Nyes over there. And but if you all remember early in the year when we were kind of developing as a group, the Nelson Nevers Brodzinski line kind of took off as our critical line, and for us at that time. I know it's fun for us now is the other 2 lines are starting to really, we got some things that are happening that we've been waiting on. And Hughlin, and I'm changing the conversation, but Hughlin, Kurth, and Pitlick were outstanding last week. And Lammer had his best week in a long while. And that keeps coming. So you know, if that can continue, we're in a pretty good spot.
Coach, going into this postseason, how much has your goalie Justen Close's game compared to around this time last year with, you know, a full regular season under his belt?
Yeah. I got to answer it two ways and come at it two different ways. One, and you've heard me say it before, Justen is, it's almost been from day one when he got in there. He looks the same almost every day in practice, every game. So he's just got a mature, comfortable look about him. But on the other hand, I think you're right. I think he is maturing even more and getting more confidence the more he plays. But he doesn't have that demeanor. He just has the same demeanor with us, but there has to be some growth in there too. From an athletic standpoint, the more he plays, because we've needed him a few times on wins this year where it's been all him. And he just is just the steady rock for us back there.
You're not in charge of anybody else's travel plans, but have you talked to Steve Rowlick at all? Do you know any idea what they're doing as far as getting here with the weather and all that?
We've been communicating through text, and I said, don't worry, you're not going to have any problem getting here. So, but I'm not a meteorologist. I just wish, I think there's going to be a window. They're going to be fine to get in here.
Sure.
And, this is the time of year too, to come early. Sometimes you've been traveling all year. That even is a distraction to come even earlier. And they'll get in here. It looks like there could be a window, maybe not quite as bad as they thought. So but that's part of being on the road too. Yep. Adversity on the road. We all have to deal with it.
And then today's the 43rd anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, a pretty big moment in American hockey, and 9 Gophers on that team. Just what memories do you have of that, being a younger guy?
Well, I was 20. I was 20 years old when that happened, playing in the USHL. You remember, we didn't have the media. I know I was on a bus and listening to one of the last 2 games. It was the gold medal game, but you had a lot of pride. We all did back then following it. But God, you just didn't have the how we watch everything now on your phone. You watch and you can replay all the greatness. But that's how we followed it back then from radio. The game we had, the big game was for us on the radio, but they were college guys. There were so many Minnesota guys. Of course, Herb Brooks, we're all from Minnesota. So I think we had a real keen eye to the tournament and then how it did take off from a media standpoint. But let's all face it, it grew after is where, the legacy and how special it was. It kept growing, after the tournament, and for decades upon it, it'll probably never end. So, but it was pretty cool.
Bob, I'm just curious, how do you handle senior night when it's not going to be your last your last time in the building here this year, knowing to get at least one home playoff game for sure, and just how nice is it to be home heading into the playoffs?
Well, the senior group has been awful special for us. Been with all 4 years. They've been part of this whole building process that we've gone through, and it is the night where their families could come in and we honor their. And we made the change. We do it after the game, which I think I've seen other programs do. I think it's great. You're not rushed, and the families can be down on the ice and they can really enjoy it, and they can come back for a weekend. But they know there's more. That's the one thing that this group that they're gonna enjoy it with their families after the game on Saturday, and it's a moment for all of us to tip our cap to that group. But they know that. We've got some important things in front of us that they're very focused on.
We're going to have your 8th sellout on Saturday and possibly a sellout on Friday. When you look at that compared to say back in 19 in the playoffs against Michigan, where there's not many people in the building, what was required to build it to what it's become now?
Well, I mean, that's a great. I mean, that picture made it all over, college hockey and the hockey world, our building at that time. But I'll stay. The Gopher fans have never gone anywhere. They've always been here. And we had to give them a reason to come back. And it's just the ebbs and flows of sports all over this country, it happens all the time. And, but you tip your hat. We've had some terrific hockey players that have come into our program, and great heart and character, and our fans, pretty smart hockey fans in the state. And if you put out the product like we have the last few years, they're going to come back out and watch, and we compete awful hard. And I think they respect that. So it's been awesome. I mean, I'll even go last year, our guys were more nervous in that championship game because the building was on fire. And, let's hope we can do that again, because we'll be ready for it this time. I think it kind of, because we hadn't seen that, and obviously how far it had come from a few years back. But Gopher fans haven't gone anywhere. Hopefully we're growing some new ones, and it's awesome when that's happening.
Can you give us an update on Brock Faber, where he has health-wise, Coach, and just any thoughts about with the Big Ten title wrapped up, if you might be considering, taking some time away from some guys and giving more time to other guys, rest somebody up, that kind of thing?
I'll get ahead of myself a little bit because it's Wednesday, but I don't think there's any chance that Brock Faber's not going to play this weekend. And I'm kind of talking not from because I talked to him yesterday, and he just looked at me and said, "I'm in." So no, I haven't got that from the trainer yet. But he's been practicing hard. We're almost stamping it that he's going to be in there unless there's a setback between he and the trainer, the medical people. No, we're not going to sit back at all. We got 2 games that we got to buy. We gotta put our foot down, and we got to play. And there's no holding back anything right now.
One quick one, Bob. I know you did the thing Monday with the team with the trophy and the hats and all that. Is there going to be any kind of public display of the trophy at the rink or anything like that?
I don't know.
Okay. Just curious. Last year was different, obviously, because you won it, at a game, and they showed it off on the ice and all that. I was just wondering.
No, I don't. Now, whether they do something with it up in the concourse, we're not going to do anything as a team.
Okay.
It's over. It's over.
Yep.
And we're moving on. But whether they have it upstairs or not, I'm sure they're probably thinking of doing something. They haven't brought me under that tent yet.
Justin, Bob has been talking about how your demeanor, at least on the outside, hasn't changed since your first start a year and a month ago. I though wonder sometimes, particularly it happened at Penn State, where you had to pull a save out of your back pocket, so to speak, all of a sudden. So your demeanor goes from calm looking to explosive. Are you explosive underneath that we can't see, or are you just able to turn it on in a hurry?
Well, I suppose I could say I'm a competitor. I want to win. And I think sometimes the situation requires you to be a little bit explosive. So I think part of that calm demeanor comes from, like I said, trying to keep the game as simple as possible. But there are certain situations within the game that call you to, be explosive, as you put it, and maybe lunge out with a little more pace than usual.
Expect out of Ohio State. You guys split with them last time there.
Yeah, they're a very talented team, and I think they're playing some of their best hockey this season right now. They've got a lot of depth. They're really good in transition, and they've got good goaltending. So they're going to be a great challenge for us, but we're looking forward to getting them in here this weekend.
What was kind of the mentality going into Friday night? How weird was it to take the ice knowing you had already won the regular season title in the league? And just what did it take for you guys to be locked in like you were?
I think for us, we wanted to build on our weekend before off Wisconsin. Obviously, we didn't think we played our best hockey there, and we knew we had more to give. So we want to go out and focus on playing a detailed and focused game. And Big Ten championship on the line or not, I think that was still our goal. And we were happy to be in that position, but I think our focus was more on, like I said, building more detailed and focused game going forward.
When you see what the top line with Nyes, Cooley, and Snuggerud can accomplish, especially look at Penn State with those two late goal in regulation and an overtime. What type of confidence does that give you back in the net?
Well, I think it's first of all, it's nice to see, and what I was most impressed with last weekend is how they played up and down the ice. There's a lot of talented players in the country who can score goals and put the puck in the net, but it's tough to find guys who can play all 200 feet. And when you have guys who buy in like that, and I think not only myself, but the entire team rallies around it.
And after this weekend, you guys going to Big Ten tournament will have some home ice advantage, but how special is this weekend being, your last two regular season home games as a senior goaltender on senior weekend?
I'm looking forward to it. Supposed to have some family coming down. We'll see if they can make it through the snowstorm, but it's been a quick year so far, and it's hard to believe it's the last two regular season games, but no, we're looking forward to this weekend. We're looking forward beyond.
Was your last real road series? Any games you play away from your home rink now will be neutral site. But I remember Jack LaFontaine talking about some of the individual chants he heard from the crowd at Michigan, and some of the student sections that you face. And last weekend, obviously, was one of the more intimidating student sections with that roar zone hanging right over you there. What's that like for a goalie, and how much fun is it to hear him quiet in the third period, like on Friday?
I don't listen to him too much. I mean, it's all just sounds like a bunch of noise. There's the "you suck" chants, which I guess I've maybe become a little numb to them. I don't really hear them anymore. Probably heard them too much, but no, it's all part of the fun atmosphere, whether you're at home or you're on the road. Just the noise and the energy in the building is part of what makes the game fun. So whether they're saying nice things to you or not so nice things, I think it's all part of the experience.
So when, a rare time like Saturday where you give up an early goal, you don't think, oh boy, here we go, and get him going?
No, not at all. You can't think like that. But no, it was it's always fun going to Penn State. It's a tough rink to win in, and their student section brings a lot of energy.
Going into, your last series as a goaltender, as a senior during a regular season, how was your relationship with goalie coach Brendan Podzere just grown ever since he's come to this program, with you being thrust into that starting role last season?
I think from day one, we've been on the same page, and I think we both like talking about the game and learning together and growing together and bouncing things off one another. And I think that's what makes our relationship work so well. It's not anything that he tells me technically that has changed my game or anything like that. He's a good dude, and we enjoy coming to the rink and working together. So I think that's why it works.
It's relatively subdued on Monday, and I know you've got a couple other banners that you're focused on now. But how cool was it to have that Big Ten trophy come out on the ice again and get a new hat and all that stuff?
Yeah, I was surprised. I don't know if anybody knew what was going on. We all had yellow socks on before practice, so some of the guys were wondering what that was all about. But yeah, I'd never even touched one of those things. And then the trophy was in the locker room the other day. I picked it up. It's kind of heavy. I was a little surprised by it, but it's nice to check those things off the list and earn those accolades as a team. And we had a great regular season, and it's nice to celebrate that. But we got bigger goals and we got bigger aspirations going forward. So just check mark along the road, if you will.
Some guys won't touch that one. You have no superstitions, huh?
No, I don't. I'm not a very superstitious guy. So
You probably have the worst seat in any arena to see what they do down low the other end. Tell us a little bit about what you share with their accomplishments and their goals, like once a period is over or once a game is over, and how quickly do you go looking for video to see what really happened?
To be honest, Frank, I don't look at a lot of the clips, because to tell you the truth, and what they're doing is fantastic. I don't really care who scores. So I don't really go back and watch the clips. I'm just happy if we score more goals than the other team, but there's no doubt that they can do some special things on the ice. I know that.
And do you study the tape of goals you give up or saves you make to see, what you did right or what you could have done differently?
Yeah, me and Podsy come in after every weekend, usually on a Monday or Tuesday, and we go over all the scoring chances and puck touches, and that's where a lot of those conversations that we have take place, where we bounce ideas off one another and talk about if you would have done anything different there, or what do you think about that save, or just stuff like that. So yeah, we go over film on Mondays and Tuesdays and usually hash that stuff out.
And I know you've got a good relationship with your defense, and I know you and Carl Fish have been friends for a while. Just how much fun is it to see him in there and doing what he did last weekend, coming so close to getting a goal right away there, and just getting his chance, I guess.
Yeah, that was allowed. That was a loud sound all out the rink, but no, he played great last weekend. I was happy to see him get in there, and you know what? It didn't really look like he missed a beat to me. He kept his game simple. He was moving pucks and he defended well, and he's always been good at that stuff. And I think the fact that he was able to, slide in the lineup so seamlessly is a real testament to his work ethic and how hard he's competed in practice all year. And yeah, I was really happy for him.
The line has obviously made a huge impact this year, and we've talked a lot about the chemistry the three of you have. With that said, especially in late in a game like Saturday, how much fun is it to watch those three guys on Nyes, Cooley, and Snuggerud, and just what they seem to do when they get rolling?
I mean, it's when they get rolling, they're not very fun to play against in practice. I mean, like we play a game called tips at the end of the game or at the end of practice, where it's just sort of 6-on-6 in the O-zone. You don't have to tag up. You just shoot the puck whenever you want. And Nyes and Cooley and Snuggerud get the puck, and you don't touch the puck for 15 straight minutes. So I can imagine playing against them in a game would feel the exact same way. And so, yeah, I mean, like you said, our line's basically there to get the puck out of the D zone and into the O zone, so that those guys can go out there and have a little more leeway in the O zone.
Have a virtual NCAA position. I mean, that's locked in. You're going to open at home for the conference playoffs. What's the thoughts going into 2 regular season games that won't change any of those 2 factors?
Yeah, I mean, they're still big games. I mean, Coach Motzko talks every single week at practice just to win the series during the year. And, we're 1-1 against Ohio State, so we're going to have to win both games if we want to win that series. And so, we're still looking to, beat every single team that we play.
It looks like there's going to be an eighth sellout crowd this season, possibly a 9th if Friday sells out. What's that been like for you guys on the ice? I mean, how much do you draw from that?
Yeah, I mean, our fans have been unbelievable. Our student section has been so good this year, and it's kind of special. And everyone wants to come play here now because of how great our fans have been. And there's still people out there that think just because we're in the Big Ten, we're not getting any more sellout crowds. And our play this year has been really good, and we've been winning a lot of games. And fans are coming, and obviously plays a lot into us. And it's been a pretty special year, and we're very thankful for it. That's for sure.
I don't know if you saw this, but the NCHC named its all-decade team, and your brother was one of the guys on the list. Just do you congratulate him, and just any thoughts on his accomplishments as a Husky?
Yeah, I mean, it's I still go and look every time I'll go look on like College Hockey News to see just what the scores were during the week. And I always end up looking at his stats because he had such an unbelievable career. And it's pretty cool. I saw it. He was with like Brock Besser and just some unbelievable names, Troy Terry. And so it's pretty cool to see him up with those names. And I knew he was really good. I didn't know how good he was when I was going to his games when I was 12 years old. And it's pretty cool to see him get honored like that. And he's not usually a guy that gets all those rewards. So pretty special. It was a really cool day. And I called him and was going to congratulate him, and then his daughter answered the phone. I didn't even end up talking to him. So it wasn't an accolade that he was too particular, super psyched up about, but it was really cool that he got it.
What will it be like to have senior night, knowing that it's not going to be your last time in the building, and you're going to get at least one home playoff game? Does that kind of maybe take any pressure that might be on you to win your final home game, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be a pretty cool night, and last real series at Mariucci, and it's going to be pretty cool to have my family there and get my family to come on the ice and kind of honor the guys that has stuck with us here for 4 years, and it should be a fun night.
A lot of attention goes to the Cooley line. Would you talk up your line a little bit? What makes the 3 of you guys click so special?
Yeah, I mean, we're all super close off the ice, so it's kind of cool. I was talking with guys like Snuggerud and Cooley and them, they're kind of afraid to yell at each other on the bench because they don't want to hurt the other guy's feelings. Or, me and Jackson and Mason are so close, we can yell at each other on the bench and know that it's all business. And, that's probably what makes our line so good. If we don't like how something's going, we yell at each other and we change it right away, and no one has any hurt feelings, and we just keep playing our game. And, I think Motzko knows that too. And so he's been a lot tougher on us just to kind of, show that we need to play the right way. And, he knows that we won't take it hard. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing for our line.
Talked about Mason and kind of how he's the brains of the operation, but Jackson, not only with his faceoffs, but Frank came up with the stat. He's the only player that's got a shot on goal in every game this year. Just what's it like with playing with that, knowing that big body's in the middle to kind of clear traffic and all the stuff he can do.
Yeah. I mean, he's been really good this year. I mean, first half he had all those assists, and it just kind of showed just how good he can be. And so, he's been an unbelievable playmaker. And, that said about him getting shots on net, it's, if I was a defenseman, I'd definitely get out of the way if I saw him shooting. So that's probably why they're all getting on net for him.
Or at the beginning of the year, would you have ever thought that Logan Cooley would have to come to the defense of Carl Fish? And what was your reaction on the bench in Penn State when he actually did that?
I mean, I kind of knew he would do it. I didn't think it would be that way around where he was sticking up for Carl. But he's definitely got that Sammy Walker in him where it's like anything goes wrong and he just wants to take someone's head off. So, it's kind of funny. He was getting yelled at on the bench by Motzko the other day where, Motzko was yelling at him to cool down a little bit. And Logan looked at me because he hadn't even done anything yet, but Motzko knew he might do something later on. So, it's kind of funny. He's a little bit of a hothead. He's well controlled with it, but it's kind of funny. He's a pretty tough kid. I wouldn't mess with him for sure.
You mentioned Carl Fish. You talk about a guy who just puts his head down and goes to work and waits for his chance. I mean, how much fun was it to see? Well, I think it was first shift of the game. He hits the post on Penn State, and just how well he played last weekend. Yeah,
I mean, he's always been a staple for our team. I mean, he's one of the, but he's the guy in the locker room that everyone goes up and talks to, and such a good guy. And his mom's at every single game, regardless of if he plays or not. It's just he's got that such a good vibe to him. And so whenever he does anything good, whenever he gets in the lineup, everyone's super excited and brings everybody up.